And then just one day before the terror attack on our National Guard, the White House says this Afghan national, Mahmoud Dawood Al-Okazai, posted a video of himself on TikTok threatening to blow up a building in Fort Worth, Texas. Department of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem says none of the 85,000 Afghans settled under the Biden administration were vetted properly. But under Trump, that's all about to change.
President Trump, thankfully, has completely changed that. We are now using all social media content. We're going after what they have been doing with their contacts, their biometric data information we are collecting. Now, when we vet individuals under this administration, we know who they are, why they are here, and going through that. Unfortunately, this individual, that entire process happened under Joe Biden's watch.
Here to discuss, West Virginia State Senator and active duty National Guardsman Tom Willis. Also with us, retired FBI Supervisory Special Agent and CEO of Jupin International, Jack Jupin. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Lydia. Good to be here.
So, Jack, you just heard from Kristi Noem. She was on Meet the Press this morning, and she also talked about how she believes that the National Guard terrorist suspects, how he was radicalized here in the United States. Take a listen.
We're still going through all of that information, and I'll let the FBI and DOJ reveal new information. But I will say we believe he was radicalized since he's been here in this country. We do believe it was through connections in his home community and state, and we're going to continue to talk to those who interacted with him, who were his family members, talk to them. So far, we've had some participation.
Jack, talk to me about the vetting process, because it seems impossible to vet all of these people from these third world countries. I mean, how do you, it's not like here in the United States where you can type in somebody's name and they have a criminal record. And what do you think about what Secretary Noem just said there? I mean, he was living in this, Afghan community. And the vetting process, it seems like it was futile.
Yeah, it's extremely difficult. I mean, post 9/11, I traveled to about 27 countries. I have utilized multiple translators throughout the world, including our own that were American citizens that were from Islamic countries and Christian countries that spoke Arabic and Pashtun and all the languages that we needed. It's a very difficult process. But to let people walk into this country without even thinking about it and letting them come in with a Post-it note saying, let them in, it's just unheard of. It's absurd, to be quite honest with you. This individual that was radicalized here in the United States, I saw that all the time, running a joint terrorism task force, international squad out of the Newark, New Jersey division. You know, we used to almost make a joke out of it. There were 3 places that we were running into problems: Dearborn, Michigan, Patterson, New Jersey, and Jersey City. And unfortunately, they are the highest population of Islamic extremists that we have in America. Are they throughout the country? Now we're seeing more in Texas. Yes, we are. But we're seeing them throughout the country now expand, as you just mentioned previously, about how much of a presence they now have. And you just showed a video as you started your show about Dearborn, Michigan, call for prayers. I remember being stationed in Amman, Jordan, and I heard that every day, 5 times a day. Mm-hmm. We were in and out. Obviously, we were right next door to Iraq and Syria, where we would do special operations in and out of the country. And I just remember being there and listening to this every day, which is fine. Mm-hmm. You know, everybody has a right to free speech. Right. Nobody cares about that. But when you bring it to an Islamic level where it's extremist, right? Yeah. And you're looking to hurt people, and this individual in Texas that was just charged as well, that he wants to blow up something else. And this individual who just shot 2 innocent National Guard people, all they were trying to do is prevent crime.
Right.
You know,
it's unbelievable. I know, this is the United States. Like, you don't like it here, you don't want to assimilate, then go back home. You know, Tom, President Trump, he posting to Truth Social that 1 in 6 people in the U.S. is now foreign born, and that it's never been higher than any point in history. He added that now is the time for another period of restricted immigration. Do you agree with this?
Well, Lydia, I think the president is spot on this issue. And look, I'm all for immigration. My wife is an immigrant. I met her on a military deployment. But there's a smart way to do it, and there's a foolish way to do it. I mean, bringing in this Afghan resettlement refugee program with tens and thousands, 70+ thousand unvetted Afghans with statistically a 37% literacy rate, statistically a fourth grade equivalent, education coming from decades of trauma and jihadi warfare. Many of them being educated in Sunni madrasas that teaches radicalism. It's just foolish. And the president's spot on. Unfortunately, my U.S. Senate opponent, Shelley Moore Capito, voted with the Biden administration to let these folks in, and we're reaping the harvest of that dangerous naivety now.
And Jack, in a 2021 Senate hearing, Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas insisted that more than 99% of those fleeing Kabul were screened and thoroughly vetted before getting on those planes. But then he walked back his comments. Watch this.
Are you telling this committee under oath that 99% of the people who got on these planes in Afghanistan were vetted by our government before they got on that plane?
I want to be very clear because precision.
Because you're not.
No. Senator, if I may, you are asking me about planes from transit countries, the third countries.
I'm talking about people who got on the plane in Kabul airport.
No, I can't speak to that.
So, Jack, what do you think about that? I mean, does he bear responsibility here? I mean, we know Joe Biden was completely incapacitated, but Mayorkas, he lied under oath, said they were thoroughly vetted. Then they're backtracking. I mean, some heads need to roll. People have blood on their hands.
Well, 100%. First of all, that withdrawal was abysmal. I've never seen anything in my life or my career, anything like this whatsoever. So and you're showing the video now of people literally jumping on a plane. They did not vet these people. And as you mentioned, we let 10 to 20 million people into this country, and you cannot tell me. I mean, I know what I did for my background check. I'd love to see how many people went through what I went through for their background check, because I can guarantee you it wasn't anything close. And to be a federal agent in the FBI, I went through a lot of hoops, including lie detector tests, including background checks that went all the way back to me going to high school. So I don't know how you let somebody in, as my colleague just said, a fourth grade education and being grown up and raised in a jihadi environment, walk into this country without having any knowledge of them and who they are.
I know. Tom, real quick, we have less than a minute. The accused terrorist who ambushed the National Guard, he worked for the CIA in Afghanistan. We know that because the CIA director, Ratcliffe, this is what he tells us. You were in the FBI for over 20 years. You worked in the Middle East, 9/11, counterterrorism. Is this the type of guy that we should even have brought here to the United States? And talk to me about the follow-up, because I'm reading so many articles now that he was depressed, he was unable to hold a job, that he was living off of welfare, that he was playing video games all day. Where is the follow-up from the government once we bring these people here?
Well, it should be no surprise, honestly, that this individual was not able to function properly in U.S. society. Again, you look at the background that the vast majority of these folks are coming from, in this war-torn country with a broken education system, with a radical Islamic ideology. We need to make sure that our U.S. immigration policy is revamped completely so we don't fall into the same trap that Europe did and suffer folks coming here with a Sharia law ideology that's completely inconsistent with our constitutional democracy.
Gentlemen, we have to leave it right there. Thank you both.
Thank you, Lydia.
Thank you.